Hello and welcome to Best WP7 Games. Today we're taking a look at MiniSquadron, which is one of the Xbox Live titles released last week. Now, MiniSquadron is it's a dogfighting game. I'm just going to show you one level using one of the sort of fairly generic aircraft. So every level starts with a little cutscene like that, not really a cutscene, just showing your plane flying past. And as we can see, this level, in fact, opens with a duck chute, quite literally. You see the controls, you have a virtual stick on the left corner, and the right is simply the fire button. And that's it. As I'm using a third tier aircraft, I'm having a triple cannon shot. Your default is just a single, then it goes up to a double, then a triple, and there's a variety of other options too. You get homing missiles, bombs, and a laser towards the end as well. As he said, the laser, while useful mostly because of its range and accuracy, has one major problem, which is if you are actually shooting people who are on screen with it, the game will judder to a halt. It's not something that comes across too obviously here, but the game isn't brilliantly optimised, and there are moments when it will jerk, which can really throw you off the game. This happens sometimes also when the music is looping back on itself, which is a bit of a shame, particularly when it's clearly basically just MIDI music. You'd think it wouldn't be that hard, but there we go. Anyway, as you can see, the game is very simple. It's a very traditional design. I used to get games like this for free on the old home computers, released with floppy disks on floppy disks with games magazines. That said, they would have had fewer features. It would just be one-on-one or one on a small number of aircraft, and they'd all probably wouldn't be much variety within the aircraft. But still, as a design, it's quite old. They fleshed it out, as you saw. Well, as you can see, by having a wider variety of aircraft and a large amount of aircraft on screen, and as I've shown you already, you do unlock more aircraft as the game goes on. And these do have different properties, so some are larger, some are smaller, some are slower, some are faster, some have more armour, some have less armour, and some fire faster and some fire slower. And it's very easy to understand. You can also see it's a vibrant game, but it's not necessarily that pretty. And it has some nice features. The sky is nice, the clouds work quite well, and the little trails you leave behind you are very nice. Ah, yes. Here's another annoyance in the game. There are power-ups that you can pick up, and the enemy can also pick them up. And the problem is, the more enemies there are, the higher the odds are that they'll just randomly pick one up off-screen. You have no way of knowing it's there, and it'll do something like what you just saw, where I ended up frozen in a block of ice, and unable to do anything except fire. Which, as it turned out, didn't actually cause me any harm, but in later levels that can spell instant death, as you just get blasted to pieces, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that strikes me as a little bit of a bad design decision. It's rather like the blue shell in Mario Kart, where when the AI uses it, it can completely make you lose your position, go from first to last, without there being anything you can do about it, and it's a frustration without anything you can do to stop it, which makes it a bad design decision in my book. Anyway, aside from that, it's a nice enough game. I'd be happy to recommend it if it wasn't for two reasons. One, the price. It doesn't really justify its cost. It's not actually that long of a game, even if you do try to complete it. But more importantly, I don't see why you would. As it's fun enough. There's nothing wrong with the game, but it's not designed for longevity. As I say, it's got too many frustrations that aren't skill-based. It's just not a game that really makes you want to keep going. After a certain point, it just becomes more of the same. The second issue, and it's an issue which doesn't come across too obviously here, is that this game is not very well converted. I've already mentioned performance issues, but more importantly than that, some handsets have real problems with this. Apparently the HD7 has a lot of difficulty with this, where some people have reported the virtual joystick just doesn't work. Other people have had the game crash out regularly. I think that's in extremely regularly. I've had it crash out myself a couple of times, so I know this happens. So, in all, I think it's a little bit underwhelming. It's a bit of a shame, really. At a lower price and with a better conversion, I'd be happy to recommend this, but as it is, I'd say not. Either way, it's available on the marketplace now.